When Quincy Wilson failed to qualify for the World Championships in 2025, a valid argument could be made that his performance at the USA's was a disappointment. On one end, he was on the Olympic team running on the relay in 2024 and came back with a gold medal. And beyond that, he did run one of the faster times that any American man had put out in the 400. So for him to not even qualify for the final at the USA's, yes, that was not supposed to happen. But at the end of the day, Quincy Wilson is a high school kid, and he's in the class of 2026, and he has not chosen to leave it, which means colleges are still recruiting him. Because on the other end, Cooper Lukenhouse was in the class of 2027. But the only reason I say past tense is because after qualifying for the World in the 800, regardless of what happened once he got there, he made the decision to turn pro, signing a deal with Nike. So, as far as I know, he will not be running in the NCAA. But every other top track and field recruit that we actually have in the nation will be, or at least at this moment. The Quincy Wilson recruiting sweepstakes started over a year ago. All the big-name schools have taken a shot at it, whether it was Florida, Texas Tech, Tennessee, South Carolina for that matter, Georgia. All of them want a piece of Quincy, specifically to run on their team. And if they have any NIL money at all to give a track and field athlete, which many schools don't, but if they do, they're definitely going to give it to him. And because I am the guy who does the high school national recruit rankings to help determine who is really the best. So yes, being a 5-star on my list, I'm here to say it, means a whole lot more than anybody else's. Because I made sure that my scale is legit. I won't make you a 5-star if I don't believe that all the top schools see you as a game breaker, the type of athlete who will get there and has a good shot to make a difference in the national championship push immediately. But coming into the 2025-2026 recruiting cycle specifically, I have also found out that nobody really knows what's going on out there, specifically when it comes to students and families. Track and field recruiting has always been confusing. It has always been. But now with all the new rules about the NCAA, revenue sharing, NIL, some programs are adding scholarships, others are cutting the programs entirely, some are downsizing, getting rid of the sprints. All of this is going down, and parents are just trying to figure out, where's their kid going to go to school next year? And they're hoping to find a scholarship. So when it comes to the very best recruits in the nation, I figured that I could show you what's going on a whole lot better than I could simply tell you. So I'm just going to break down, as far as I know, what is going on with the absolute best track and field recruits in the nation right now, on both the boys and the girls' sides. Who is recruiting them? Where are they likely to go? What are their options? And more importantly, what does that mean for everybody else on the board across the NCAA? Because there are more than 300 Division I track and field programs out there, but most people don't pay the majority of them any mind. They just want to go to the biggest name programs. So let's have a real conversation about who the biggest name programs actually want to recruit and how that's working for them. I've already filled you in on the Quincy Wilson situation. He's a 99 overall rating on my scale for the class of 2026. And I don't see anything changing, and I dare anybody to challenge it. Quincy Wilson in the 400 right now has already put down times that nobody in college was able to run last year. Just let that sink in for a moment. We are talking about his personal best, or for that matter, last year's season best. But for him to go that fast, that means you just got to get him to be his best self, and you're going to win a national title in the 400. We've even seen him run with professionals, indoors and outdoors, and beat them. Quincy Wilson is ready for the big time. All the comments people have about his form, what he might need to do, that might be true. But if you're a college coach, you're not worried about that. Quincy Wilson comes in and changes the game at the moment he shows up on campus. 4x4, Quincy Wilson. Open 4, Quincy Wilson. We don't even have to have the conversation beyond that. That's more than enough to help you win a title. 4 of the 6 programs that I know are pursuing him have won national titles or been runner-ups within the past decade. So yes, they are the best teams, obviously. But you also have programs like South Carolina and UCLA who are on there. They're in the SEC, they're in the Big Ten, now the new Big Ten, like now that it expanded. And going after Quincy, personally, I don't think they're going to land him, but you got to shoot your shot, right? But he is not the only top recruit in the class of 2026. I never expected I would have 299 overalls in that class, but then Tate Taylor happened. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comments section, because I try to read them all. He broke a high school national record indoors in the 2, then broke a high school national record outdoors in the 100. He went to the USA Outdoor Championships in the 100 and the 200. He didn't make the final, but he was there. That still matters. Simply put, Tate Taylor is the real deal. Who else are you looking for if you want a short sprinter out of America? Because when it comes to recruiting, the top programs are going to go overseas. If they can't find what they need to win, like the type of kid who can beat Tate Taylor in the States, they'll just go overseas. They'll go to Nigeria or wherever else they have to try to get a legit competitor. As far as where Tate Taylor might end up, I know Texas A&M, Baylor, and Tennessee are going after him. There might be other schools on the list, but those are the ones that I know are on the list based on what social media gives us to go off of. When it comes to Texas A&M, they always take their shot at the #1 sprint recruit in the nation, specifically the Gatorade National Track Athlete of the Year, because they did sign one just like a year or 2 ago. That was Osama Sinka, but he never competed in their uniform for reasons that I'm not getting into right now. But hey, it means they could land another one. As for Baylor, I mean, they have a shot. Their program hasn't won a whole bunch of championships or anything like that as of late, but we have seen individual athletes break out, most recently with Nathaniel Ezekiel in the 400 hurdles, who went all the way through to the World Championship final this past year. So yes, Baylor is the real deal. And the last freshman in the NCAA to win the 100-meter dash did it in a Baylor uniform. That was Trayvon Bromell. But when it comes to Tennessee, they did just give us T. Mars McCallum, who never won an NCAA title, but ironically still made Team USA in the 100 in 2025, which I didn't see coming, but hey, shout out to him. So yes, Tennessee knows what they're doing in the sprints, even when they're going out in the SEC, which is the most well-funded professional sports league disguised as college athletics as far as I'm concerned. And because Cooper Lukenhaus decided to go pro, there's nothing for me to say about his recruiting. Simply put, he's a 99 overall rating, but it won't matter if you're an NCAA coach. So we're just going to move on from that. The only other recruit I'm going to flag on the men's side right now is Miles Neesmith, because on my scale, he is a 96 overall rating as a jumper. Nobody else in the nation, aside from the names I just gave you, are a 96 or above on my scale. No shade, just being honest, that's the way the numbers fell. As a combo jumper, he is now being pursued by Florida State, Texas Tech, LSU, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. When it comes to the horizontal jumps, as you can assume, those programs have generally been competitive at the national level. If you're looking at the top triple jumpers in the nation, Oklahoma went 1-2 at the national meet, just saying. So if he ended up there, I wouldn't be all that shocked, but it is what it is. And if you're wondering about the class of 2028, because I haven't said anything about them up until this point, I'm just going to say this. Nobody in the class of 2028, as of yet on the boys' side, has proven to me they are a 5-star recruit. I'm sure there will be 5 stars that will emerge between now and the end of this season. I just don't know who they are yet. But on the women's side, for the class of 2026, they also have their heavy hitters. And the first of which has to be Natalie Dumas, who is a 98 overall rating on my scale. Now, she's the best thing we've seen come out of New Jersey, arguably since Sydney McLaughlin-Lavergne. And yes, I did just say that sentence. Not saying she's on Sydney's level, but when you can run the 400, the 400 hurdles, and the 800 as well as she does, like if you saw what she put out at New Balance Outdoor Nationals, it doesn't get much better than that competitively. So it makes sense why the biggest name programs are doing everything they can to get her. Arkansas, Miami, Florida, Georgia, Duke, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina are all going after her as far as I can tell. And I can see legitimate reasons to go to most of those schools. Some of them, like Vanderbilt and Duke, obviously their academics are top-notch. So if that's what you want, you can have that and still compete at a high level. Duke specifically is incredibly underrated in the ACC. Just saying. But South Carolina just gave us Jamezia Ford in the 400 and the 200, and now the 100 apparently, so clearly they can develop talent on the individual level. Florida just won national titles as far back as, I think, like 2021, 2022. I'm just going off head right now, but they did get one on the women's side for track and field, and the 400 was a large part of it. Shout out to Talitha Dix. But when it comes to Arkansas specifically, I consider them to be probably the most fully loaded program across the NCAA. between their indoor and outdoor facilities, all the funding that goes to the team, it's clear that they get the best of the best recruits to come, so much so where you could be a 5-star recruit on my list, go to Arkansas, and barely compete as a freshman because they really don't need you to. They can win a national title without you. They actually did it with Shanti Jackson already. She was not even arguably, hands down the best sprint recruit when she came out of high school, went to Arkansas, barely competed, didn't score any points at nationals, and they still won without her. She did transfer to LSU, from that moment up until now. But that's not the point. Arkansas is going to win a whole lot, regardless of who's in the uniform, because they're going to only put really talented kids in those uniforms. But Natalie Dumas is about as talented as it's going to get when you're recruiting a high school kid. Yet the other 98 overall rating in that class is Elizabeth Leachman. She was at the Olympic trials in the 5K, which technically isn't even a high school outdoor track event, so that's her talent. She also dominated cross country last year, but when it comes to college, we don't have a whole lot of chatter about her. We know that BYU is at the very least considering her. They did win the cross country national championship last year for Division I, so kinda makes sense to me. But I'm pretty sure that all the other top Division I distance programs have probably put in a call by now. Schools like Oregon or whoever else. And then there's combo hurdler Jasmine Robinson, also out of the class of 2026. As far as I can tell, her recruiting list looks a whole lot like what I saw when I first looked up Natalie Dumas. But the school that stands out the most to me on her list is the one that Natalie doesn't seemingly have. Kentucky. Because they gave us Masai Russell, they also gave us Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, so yes, when you say top hurdler and the University of Kentucky, there is a history of those athletes going there and really developing into superstars. So, she has a great list. All the big name programs are going after her. But I said what I said. And the only other name that I'm going to mention that is a 96 overall rating or up on my scale, across all of the classes, right now at least, is Mia Maxwell. Now, she does have a twin sister, so it does appear that because they're both 5-star recruits, they might be a package deal wherever they go, which is great for whoever actually lands them. But when I look at her list, schools like Georgia, Texas, and the USC stand out the most because they have the history of recruiting the best sprinters and loading the box in those events. Because those schools have a lot of talent, adding these two girls, it would make a whole lot of sense, but at the same time, they're going to have to earn their spot. Because when they get there, they're just going to be another 5-star on those rosters. It really depends on what they want. But apparently on their list is also San Jose State University. And they are not a big name program. They put out talent in the past, don't get me wrong. But they're definitely not a big name, not expected to win a national title in the sprinting events, whether individually or on a relay. So if some way they can figure out how to land them, they will be a game changer in that conference and beyond. The crazy thing about recruiting right now is in Division I, nobody really knows who is spending what. That's on scholarships and even program budgets. The reason is because with the new rule changes, you can technically fund more scholarships, but there's no good reason to. I have already done the math, so hey, just trust me on this. If all the power conferences decided to fully fund their programs on the men's and the women's sides, and I mean fully fund the scholarships out, even if they gave full rides to those entire teams, the percentage chance that even one of those athletes you recruited would ever score a point at the national championship meet would maybe be 1 out of 5, so 20% chance. Why should I give that many scholarships out if 1 out of 5 students, or 1 out of 5 athletes, are actually going to help me win a national title? You see the problem? So, coaches just really need to find the best of the best kids. That's all they gotta do. So if I can figure out who the 10 kids actually are, the ones who are gonna show up to nationals, put in work, and get me in the winner's circle, just give all the money to them. It doesn't really matter what everybody else is doing. The current structure of D1 makes it so winning a conference championship is not the same thing as winning a national championship. You need athletes who are national championship scorers, if that is really your goal. For everybody else in D1, the kids who are not the 5-stars, yes, the schools will recruit the 4-stars if they have no choice. But when it comes to budget, they're going to have to make decisions. Some kids are going to get scholarships who otherwise wouldn't have gotten them on schools that are fully funded. You can kind of figure out who those schools are if you see a whole bunch of talented kids showing up at the same school. They're probably giving out money. But beyond that, those same kids could probably be top recruits elsewhere. Most coaches, if they had a 4-star to go after who's on the bottom half of D1, they would find every available dollar they could to give it to those kids. When it comes to NIL money, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot of NIL money for anybody in track to get. If you're not a 5-star, then there's going to be very little available to you, like, again, NIL, beyond scholarship, anywhere you might go. So I don't think that's going to be a major decision-making factor. And the irony is if you're a 3-star recruit and down, like 3-star, 2-star kids. I mean, 2-stars have limited options anyway, because they're not the 3s and the 4s. But 3-stars are in the gap, where the schools that recruit 4s, like as the bare minimum, which is like the power conference and up for the most part, and, some programs who are like, better off in the non-power conferences, they're still looking for the 4s. So those 3-stars are going to be told no at all those schools. But there's still priority recruits for the bottom half of D1. Again, albeit not with a full ride scholarship, but they'll get some form of financial aid packages and so on. The transfer portal has thrown a monkey wrench in this whole thing, and the NCAA is still trying to figure that out. We just got new transfer portal rules about football. There's going to be some version of that rolls over to track and all the other sports. We don't know exactly where all the chips are going to fall. And there are programs right now that don't know what their budget's going to be for 2026-2027. So they're still trying to figure out how to recruit, given those designations. But either way, if you are the best of the best, they will find you. Quincy Wilson made it really hard to overlook him, because when you show up to the USA Championship, or for that matter the Olympic trials, and do what he did, everybody who had a full ride scholarship probably put in a phone call, or at least they tried. Just remember that every recruit on my list, including the 5-stars, is not just competing with the high school kids in America to get a scholarship offer. Because the best programs in D1 do not care at all where the talent is or where they have to go to find it. They just want to know where it is. Hopefully, a lot of it. And then they're going to put those kids in their uniform, because the national championship trophy could care less where you recruit your athletes from. The only thing that matters is that they win in the biggest races of the year when the entire NCAA is watching. You actually made it all the way to the end of this video. I do have to admit that thank you doesn't do it justice anymore, because you are a real one. And if you want more from me beyond this video, on SCArecruiting.com, you can get a ton of resources, like my free recruiting guide, online courses, and much more, including the option to meet with me one-on-one, where my specialty is helping you figure out which schools might actually be the best fit for you. And if nothing else, and you really just want to see more content like this, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.